Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome to another video. Today we're doing something really exciting actually. I've been looking forward to this for a while. We are going to be setting up two UDM Dream Machine Pros to be in a shadow mode together to have a redundant router setup for this site. This is something that I made a video about recently with the UXG-Pro, basically just talking about how it doesn't look like they're going to give UXG-Pro the features of shadow mode and high availability and that kind of stuff. So I went ahead, I bought two Dream Machine Pros, and we're going to unbox those today, and we'll set them up in this video. Okay, so here are the two Dream Machines. I'm going to unbox these guys and get these things fired up. Nothing special to them, just standard Dream Machine Pros. So I'm going to get these things set up, inventoried, all that kind of stuff, and we'll get to the exciting part. We'll cut to the chase, and we'll get this thing going. Alright, so now we have the UDMs, well, they're out of the box. They're not set up by any means yet. Anyways, let's take a look here at the UDMs. So we've got the UDMs fired up. The first one I have set up, I have set up and kind of added to my UniFi account. I've also gone and I've updated UniFi OS, updated UniFi Network. My fear was out of the box, these things probably don't have latest firmware. I did order these from B&H, so they're not going to be super fresh from Ubiquiti. Yeah, so these things were set up and manufactured, I guess, in 2022. So at this point, the firmware on them is going to be super out of date. So I'm going to probably end up turning this one off once I get it fully set up, and then turning this one on, setting it up, adopting it, updating the firmware, and then I'm going to do a factory reset on this thing, and then I'm going to go and proceed with the shadow mode setup process. So I don't know if you have to. I'm going to try to set up shadow mode without doing all that stuff, but I'm guessing I'm going to have to go through and do a full system setup because there's no way firmware from 2022 is going to still be relevant enough to get shadow mode working, since that is a feature that just recently came out on these UDMs. I guess that's just a trade-off in what you get from ordering UDMs from B&H, but they got to go through stock at some point. So now UniFi Network is now up to date here on the UDM, and we should be able to go rack this thing up, get this one running, and get this out of the way before we do the shadow mode in the secondary UDM-Pro. So I just went and I rack mounted the UDM-Pro. The first one, that's going to be the primary of our shadow mode cluster here. I'm going to go and set up the secondary one. Like I said, this will just be temporary because I only want to set this up so that I can get it up to date on the firmware, because like I mentioned, I really don't think it's going to work with the older firmware that we had from these 2022 UDM Pros. So I've got the UniFi app open on my phone right here. I'm waiting for this console to boot. While it's doing that, I'm going to go back into the old console on the UniFi dashboard here, and I'm going to go and restore the actual console from the backup. So apparently you have to be the owner for the backup of a console to be stored on your account, which kind of makes sense. So for that to happen, I transferred ownership from their console to here, and to my account, I guess I should say. And I'm going to restore from a console backup that we have. So I'm going to enter in my UniFi account password. I'm doing this, if you go on UniFi Network, if you go to control plane of the actual console, and go under backups, you can click restore. So that's just what I'm doing right now. And I'm entering in my UniFi account password to confirm the restoration of the backup, and it says all current system data and configurations are going to be replaced with the selected backup file. So it is now going through, it's doing the restore, and it says there was a backup generated at 2:06 p.m. It's 2:14 p.m. So it's downloading the backup, it's going through the process of doing that. Like I said though, while it's doing that, I'm going to set up this other UDM-Pro. A lot of stuff going on all at once, but it makes sense to me, so I hope it makes sense to you as well. If you ever have any questions throughout any of these videos, please leave a comment down below. I'm happy to help, or someone else can help in the comments as well. So with that being said, I'm just waiting on this to boot. In case you've never seen the setup of a Dream Machine Pro, all you got to do is just open up the app on your phone. It pops up, you click name your Dream Machine Pro, click on next. It's going to test your internet speeds. You'll click next, and now it's going to set up UniFi OS by configuring all of the settings on the device. And there we go, we're done. I did this all in the span of 42 seconds. Alright, so now that this thing is fully up to date, I'm going through and factory resetting this thing back to the factory default settings. Like I said, this is just for shadow mode to work. You have to have a fresh UDM-Pro ready to go for shadow mode, so that's what I'm doing with this guy. The other guy is still restoring. It has been quite a long time, although I'm sure there's quite a lot of stuff that it has to do to fully restore. to a console backup, so I'm not too worried about that, especially once we get these stacked in the shadow mode. That process of restoring is probably not going to take as long in the future, so that's just something to consider. So the process that I'm going to go through after the restore is done, I'm going to get the first UDM up. I'm going to unplug the cloud key that is currently here, unplug the UXG-Pro, and plug everything into the UDM-Pro. We should be able to run with that for a while, and then I'm going to add the shadow mode to this console here once that's all ready. So we'll be right back once I have an update. Okay, so we are here in the MDF. I did want to show you though, please take a look at this. This is all of the downtime we just had during the switchover. This is legit, probably, well actually, 21 minus 5, I can't do this in my head, 16 seconds of downtime. That's phenomenal, by the way. That's really cool because we do have the UDM-Pro fully up and running here. I don't know what's happening to my voice. I'm losing my voice. But it's now running. It is the router of this building right now, which is phenomenal, guys. That's so cool. So I've got the other UDM right here ready to go with shadow mode. So now it's just a matter of, I'm going to log into this UDM-Pro real quick just to make sure it's all fired up and running. Although it does seem to still be offline. So it could just be restoring or something, but I'm going to get the new UDM racked, or the secondary one. I'm going to get that thing racked up, and then we'll take a look at shadow mode as soon as the UDM-Pro, the one that's on right now, as soon as that is back up and online. Alright, so here's what we are looking at right now. We've got the two UDMs. This one is firing up, this one is already online, and it's doing some updates right now alongside adopting all of the devices, just like we had before. So it's really sweet to see. It's really sweet to see that every single device is automatically adopting, just like it should be, from the previous console. Now what I'm doing is I'm going out and I'm going to go unplug the cloud key, because it is actually in a different building entirely. So I'm going to go take a look at the cloud key, get that unplugged. We'll be back. Okay, so we are out here at the other building, and let's take a look here at the cloud key. The cloud key is this device right here. This is what does all the management of the network. I'm literally just going to unplug this device because it's going to actually shut down as well. I'm unplugging this because we do not need the device anymore. The UDM is going to take control over the network of the devices. That way we don't have to have a cloud key. So with that being said, now we can go plug back in the fiber for this building, get this building back up, and then set up shadow mode. On the primary console, I just logged into the console, and you'll see, apologize for the stuff I'm going to have to blur out, but you'll see here we have a shadow gateway we're going to set up. And there's a video here, so I'm going to actually open this in a new tab so I have the video loaded up. Now that we have totally watched the video, let's try to do this. So I have a patch cord somewhere around here. Okay, I've got the patch cord right here. We're going to patch this into port 1 of our primary router, port 9 of the secondary / backup one, and you'll see here it does say plug-in cable, but on Unify it does say new shadow gateway detected. We're going to click to set up. So it says setup completed already. It's going to sync to the shadow gateway, and now what this means is it is syncing. It's essentially just downloading the configuration file, getting everything in sync, enabling the floating IP address between the two, all that kind of stuff. It's doing all of that automatically. And then in a few seconds here, it's going to tell me I need to move my cables back to a different configuration. I believe it's port 1 to port 1, and then you have your WAN connections coming in from your ISP. So now you need to verify that the cabling is updated, so we're going to connect port 7 on both of them together. So now I'm going to grab another patch cord from over here, and we will patch in port 7 to port 7 on here. And I just clicked verify on Unify, and it said yes. So it says setting up high availability cluster, and it says do not connect ports, or do not disconnect port 7 on either gateway. So what this means is now it's actually configuring the floating IP address, the via RRP IP. It's configuring that between both of them, getting it all fired up, and we should be good to go here in just a few seconds. As soon as that's done, I believe it's got to just sync it together. It should be pretty close to done now. I think we're at a pretty good spot right now. It's still setting up the cluster. So I'm going to come back as soon as that's done setting up the cluster, and I'll show you guys kind of an update once I can. Of course, immediately after I stop recording, there's an update. So as you can see, it says high availability cluster established. We're going to adjust our cabling. So we're going to disconnect that cable right there, meaning we're going to disconnect this blue one right here. It says don't disconnect cable 7, or sorry, port 7, which is annoying because I want to replace it. I'm actually going to replace it right now. Really quickly here. There we go. Okay, I just got that back in. I wanted to have a shorter cord there between the two. Sorry if the footage was bad for that. I didn't want to have that long cable there. The next step now, let's go back on the computer. We're going to go to next, and now it wants me to connect both of them to the local network. So I'm going to connect this, and I want to see if this works. I don't know if it's going to. There's a chance it doesn't. And now, with that being said, we theoretically should be ready to go. And yes, it does say it's ready to take over, and it's synchronized just now. So we should be good. The only other thing right now on the top of my head that I can think of is that this cable is our only connection to the internet at the moment. So what that means is I don't have an internet connection from our ISP going into this port yet. So there's no redundancy as of now. But that's okay, because I'm going to go grab a Switch Flex Mini, and I'm going to connect the ISP to the Flex Mini, and then essentially just take 2 ports from the Flex Mini straight up into the UDM-Pro. Alright guys, so we now have both UDMs fired up. We've got the 2 internet cables coming from the Flex Mini switch back through there, and we have these port 7 stacking little doodad thing there that essentially just allows for the UDMs to sync together. I got that set up as well. We're still waiting on this switch back here is actually still resetting, so the internet keeps going out every little bit here. But other than that, I am really pleased to say that it only took just about an hour to fully replace the router, the UXG-Pro, fully replace that, install the 2 UDMs, so it's really cool to see. So that's about all I have for this video. If you have any other questions, comments, concerns, leave a comment down below. I'm happy to hear, happy to help you out. Really cool stuff Ubiquiti's doing. Really pleased to see the progress they've made. I remember how unreliable the UDM-Pro used to be for me, at least during firmware updates and stuff, but they've really stepped it up. They've really stepped up their game, and it's really amazing to see the growth that Ubiquiti has had. I mean, even just like, I don't know if I can show this. Let me see. The amount of the amount of Ubiquiti devices we have over there sitting there is it's crazy. I never thought we'd get to this point at this site, at least, but UniFi's just become so flexible. I'm pretty soon hopefully going to do some UniFi Talk stuff here as well. Just go all out with Ubiquiti, and I'm really excited. So, yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Have a great day. I'll see you all in the next video.